Salutations, everybody. It's me, NZ Cole, and I'm here today because it's World Book Day. And I'm a reader. And there's a collab that has 9 pretty awesome people. Okay, 8 and me. But there's Mariah from Mariah's Whole New World. There's Nina from Wrestling with Disney. There's Dana, the Mouse Diva. There's Abby from the Disney Sisters. I don't know that Hope has joined in on this. There's Heather from the Disney Housewife. There is Hollie from Hollie Ever After. There is Emma from Emma and John, and there's Beth from the Collectioneers Club. And we were all given our person, and then we were told to choose 3 books and kind of like reveal it to them, and they got to choose a book. So my person was, drumroll.
Hi Nicole, I got your name. Are you surprised? Alright, so I have your 3 options picked out. And I really hope that you enjoy one of these books. I have personally read each of them and loved each of them. One of them in particular is one of my favorite books of all time, and I think it's probably the least likely one that you'll choose, but we'll see. Okay, so option number 1 is The Goose Girl by Shannon Hale. It is a retelling of a Brothers Grimm fairy tale, also called The Goose Girl. And I read that one a long time ago. I can't really remember a lot about it, but I remember that I really liked it. Option number 2, which you may have already read because it's pretty popular, but maybe you could just reread it, is Ella Enchanted, which is another one of my favorites, by Gail Carson Levine. And if you haven't read it, and the name doesn't give it away, then it's a retelling of Cinderella. And then the third option, which is one of my all-time favorite books, but you may not be too into it because it's a little sci-fi, is Cinder by Marissa Mayer, which is also another retelling of Cinderella. And I don't know, that's one of my favorite books ever. So yeah, there are your 3 options, and I hope you enjoy.
Yep. It was Hollie, and she gave me 3 incredible books to choose from. And I got to choose which book I was going to read, and it was a fun way to kind of let our friends guide us in our next book choices and promote reading. So out of the books she gave me, I chose Cinder. This is the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Mayer, and a 380-some paged novel. It says there's a short story inside, which is part of another book. Like, they put it all into one other book. And this is the one that I chose from my options. We were given a few questions to give you kind of like a book review. So, what surprised you most about this book? I started reading this book as soon as the quarantine kind of started rolling out, and the book's about a plague. Yeah, so surprise! Number 2, was this book easy to read or more challenging? I found it fairly easy. It was very fluent. It was easy to go from one chapter to the next. You actually wanted to read more. I didn't find myself emotionally having a hard time going through the book. Mentally, just like sometimes it's hard to keep going because there's lulls or you're just uninterested. I didn't find that to be problematic, and I didn't find the vocabulary used to be like existentially stimulating to the point where I was like, I gotta Google what that means. I'll be completely honest, I don't Google it. I have a thesaurus and a dictionary, and I look them up because I'm old. Take 744. Number 3. How do you relate to the main characters? Insecurities. I have insecurities. She has insecurities. While they might not be premised on the same basis, I do understand them. I can relate to them. I also understand being in your art and really enjoying what you're able to create. A small group of trust, like only really trusting the people within it, but wanting to protect them at every cost possible. Also, the displacement she feels from her family, I can relate to that in some areas too. She doesn't feel like she quite belongs. She doesn't feel like maybe she's not good enough, but she does not want to cause harm to people. And in all honesty, she has no idea what she is capable of. And I don't think any of us truly know what we're capable of until we're thrust into a situation that will bring out our strengths. So I don't think per se I relate to that overly, but I do have situations in my life that I look back on and go, I would have never guessed I was capable. I would have never guessed I was capable of achieving what I achieved or getting through what I got through. But in hindsight, I understand that it was due to the push and the force needed. Number 4. Do you think your viewers would enjoy this book? Why or why not? I don't know. I'm not one to say you'll enjoy a book just because I enjoyed a book, or you'll dislike a book because I dislike a book. So will you like this? I don't know. It is very suspenseful. It is action derivative. It has some beautiful moments where you see vulnerabilities in characters and bonds forming, but without the things that would normally make me uncomfortable, if that makes sense. But I don't really want to spoil it or anything, so if you think this is something you might read or like, read it. It is an older book. I've had it in my cart a million different times and I've never pulled the trigger. But I'm really, really glad that Hollie put this on my list and I was able to finally have that nudge to read it and that I read it. Number 5. What about this book do you think made your selector choose it for you? She chose the 3 books that she chose based off of what she remembers from them and enjoying them, and the fact that I do kind of range in young adult and fantasy type of book. This is one of her favorite books she has ever read, ever. So she put this on her list and she said it's possibly her favorite book she's ever read. Like, she really, really loved it. And I think that's why she chose it. I know that that's why I chose some of mine. One of mine was that I gave to my person was absolutely like my favorite book I read last year. Hands down. So when you love a book, you want to share it. And this was a way to put in one that she really loved. Number 6. Would you read more from this author based on this book? Oops. So yeah, I've already read the whole entire series. I didn't read. I read a book and a half and then I listened on audiobook. So I read Cinder, Scarlet Crest, Fairest Winter, all in a matter of like maybe a couple of weeks, and greatly enjoyed most of them. If I could go back, I would have skipped Fairest. Each and every one of them has its place and is riveting and captivating, and you continuously want. I like books that leave me like, I can't end at this chapter. I need to read more. Like, wait, what's going to happen? Wait, who is this person? Wait, oh no, did they? Oh yeah. So I really love the writing style. Will I read more? There's a good chance that I will read. If I keep seeing another one, so there's a good chance that I could still continue reading. But am I going to read more? I already did. Oops. So that's it. That's the World Book Collab. I absolutely love to read. Or right now I'm listening to a lot of audiobooks while I'm sewing, and they are kind of taking me outside of the world and helping me keep out of my own head. Tell me what you're reading. Are you reading any books? Have you read Cinder? What did you think? Did you read the whole Lunar Chronicles? I thank Heather and Nina so very much for putting this together, and I thank you for inviting little old me. I thank Hollie from the bottom of my heart for your suggestions. I still have them in the reservations of like what I could read when I run out of books to read, because let's all face it, our to-read book pile is always much bigger than our eyes can handle. And I hope that your books take you on journeys to places that fill you with adventure and hope and joy, with friends that you can take with people that you're glad you don't have to come in contact with in the real world. I will say that if you're going to read this book, you might want to wait, because it really is a good majority about a plague, and they talk about it quite prevalently. So there were points in times. However, the book series, it made me laugh hysterically. It made me bawl my eyes out. It made me feel for them. I'm very grateful for the journey that I went on with all of them. And I thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day and a great big beautiful tomorrow. Bye-bye. Sometimes you go to film and you just have to pet a kitty.